Hey guys, Tom here, and this is Not So Average Builder, and I'm kind of shooting this backwards, so I may say things that don't sound in sync with the timeline that you're about to see. Today is the 3rd of May, and for all us geeky people, we know what tomorrow is. It is May the 4th be with you. It is Star Wars Day. Well, I thought, you know what, no better way to bring in Star Wars Day than to break out my ATST that I got for my Secret Santa on Model Maker's Boom Hut. Well, I decided to do it at the last minute, and by last minute I mean I unboxed it at 7:30 yesterday morning. It is now 1 p.m. on the 3rd. So far I have gotten everything broken down, off the sprues, cleaned up. I've broken it into subsections, and I'm getting ready right now to prime it. The first bit of video you will see will be kind of the rough assembly of it, where I broke it down mostly into the leg section, which is pretty much self-standard, and then everything else. I have since glued the legs to the base that it comes with, and I will try, fingers crossed, if I can get this to dry quick enough, have it done, edit the video, and have it out to you by tomorrow. It may not be tomorrow morning, but I'm hoping that I can get it out to you guys tomorrow in honor of May the 4th. So without further ado, so if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Don't forget that I've got my 300 subscriber giveaway, and I'm at 177 right now. It is amazing how quickly it has come up in the last 6 months. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who's subscribed, people who have commented regularly and like the videos regularly. You guys are the real MVPs. I wouldn't be where I am without you all. I'm still on the bottom, but I'll take any awesomeness that I can get. Don't forget also that I have a Patreon page if you want to help to give back to help me out. I have plenty of tiers set up for that, and that is patreon.com/NotSoAverageBuilder. But now, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so this is all that I can pretty much show of the assembly process because everything else is going to have to be assembled after painting. The bottom portion of the legs I was able to completely put together because it's all going to be gray. There's going to be some extra details and stuff in there that I'm going to use the Army Painter washes. Probably just going to use the old strong tone or dark tone to kind of make this simpler. A lot of this stuff has to be, this is like the inner cockpit stuff, so this is going to be a different color, but I'm still going to prime it gray so that I can paint over it, because you always want to prime bare plastic. You don't ever want to just paint straight over it. But I've gotten everything in since yesterday all assembled in sub-assemblies that I can quickly paint. I can do all of these things. I have today and today only, because most of the time when I'm editing, my internet connection is not the greatest. At least my phone doesn't think so, because that's where I do most of my editing stuff. And so I have to get it done probably by 3 o'clock today so that I can upload it. And hopefully I can get it uploaded and ready for tomorrow morning. So fingers crossed. I started this at 7:30 yesterday morning. It is now 7:50 the following day. I was able to get all of this assembled and all of these things. Now if you're wondering where these are from, on 2 of the sprues it had, like, you could cut it out. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to incorporate it into this base. Now I'm going to do Vallejo's ground texture and paint over top of that to make it look more realistic. So wish me luck, everyone. Wish me luck that I can get this done. Interjection, but don't you love when you have just the right amount of primer or paint? I filled this thing up, I don't know, about 3/4 of the way, and all of that, I got it. I'm pretty excited about that. Carry on. Alright, so progress so far. Everything is dried. I did a mixture of dark tone and military shader, the Army Painter quick shade mixing, or the Army shader. Oh my word, the Army Painter washes. I mixed a combination of those, so it gives it kind of a green tinge, but still kind of picks out details and stuff like that. Now I did not clear coat this first because I was okay with staining, perfectly okay with staining. Now I am going to take the same primer that I used and I'm going to dry brush it onto large surface panels to kind of get away from everything else. I'm just going to find a place, actually here. Let's put it on this clear paper. That was way too much. But just like with any dry brushing, you want to make sure your dry brush is not covered in paint. Get as much of it off as you can. And I'm going to do little circles. Well, for some reason this is not wanting to. Kind of like pre-shading without an airbrush. Pick out raised details. So it gives it a roughed up appearance without sacrificing a lot of time. Now speaking of time, it is a lot closer to the end of the day than I expected to be. But I'm going to push through and see if I can make it work. Well, I will carry on, and I will get back with you. Well, I would say that for the most part, it's done base-wise. I've left it kind of dirty and grimy, just did a quick dry brush over the whole surface, because it's outdoors. I'm not done there, though. I'm going to continue this weathering process. So I'm going to break out Vallejo's weathering, the rust texture, and I'm also going to use rain marks. Because what perfect thing to use rain marks on than something that's outside all the time. So I think that I'm going to do the rust texture first. And just kind of put that around like flat stagnant areas. And kind of do very light on the rust. But as far as the rain marks, I'm going to go kind of heavy on this. Well, so the rust texture's on. It looks kind of cool. Now the fun part. Take Vallejo's weathering effects. We're going to do rain marks. Now you've seen my video previously where I did rain marks. It was very simple, but yet very effective on how to do it. I'm just going to take an old cheapo brush. And it gives it kind of that earthy rain texture. So I get to do this for the rest of it. And then I'll paint the figures, but I don't think I'm going to necessarily include the figures in the kit. Once this stuff dries right here, I'm going to call this thing done. I don't want to go too overboard with it, but I'd say that is not bad. It is now 6:22 p.m. on the 3rd. And I'd say this is doing pretty well. For a 48-hour challenge to have this thing ready for Star Wars Day, I think I did pretty well. I'm gonna try and get some finished pictures. I don't think this will be painted just yet, and I don't think the figures will be painted just yet. I may leave those for another day because I've got some family stuff going on tonight. But I would say overall that this thing is pretty much done. Once the rain mark stuff dries, I think we're gonna call it finished. Yeah, I'm gonna call this. I like the way it's at, or I like where it's at. I'm pretty happy with it. I can't do anything with that. I put that on really thick, so I have to let it dry. It's still kind of mushy, so I can't do anything from that point on. But I'm pretty stoked with the outcome. I mean, it is a simple one color kit, don't get me wrong, and if it would have required more colors, I probably wouldn't have made it in the time frame that I had with the time that I was actually able to work on it. But it being the only Star Wars kit that I had, I kind of lucked out in my favor. I was afraid I wasn't going to get it done because it still was a lot to take on, especially denubbing and all of this. Luckily I was able to fit it into a bunch of pre-assembled or sub-assemblies, and that made things a little bit easier. But I will have to say, all in all, I'm pretty impressed with this thing. Let me spin it around here. I mean, it does, it looks good. All the way around it looks good. And all I used as far as the color goes was Stynylrez Badger Surface Primer in the gray. I used the Army Painter Quick Shade washes to pick out all the recesses and all that stuff, and then I just used a dry brush of the same surface primer to pick out all the regular stuff. Super easy, super simple. It may not look the greatest, it may not be perfect, but I think it looks pretty good. And I will post pictures up since I don't have Facebook's community tab to where I can post pictures up. This will be on my Instagram and Facebook. That is, both of those are Not So Average Builder. Same thing as my YouTube name. So if you want to take a look at the final pictures, they'll probably be up in a day or so. Yeah, take a look. But other than that, that's all I've got. Thank you guys who watched, who waited, and who commented on Instagram for inspiration and encouragement. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that I could actually get this to the point that it's at. But thank you guys. Bye.